Yep, see, he's prepared. He's ready. And all right, I am seeing us. So, let's get started. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 150 of the Planet Destiny podcast. We're back, we're live, and we're here to talk about some things going on in the Destiny community. Now, as usual, we've got a roundtable of hosts here. We have got Mr. Mega Magwitch of the Husky Raid fame. He's Mega Man today, if you couldn't tell. Show him the hat. Let him see it. All of it. And he's got the gun. I did not know that this was a fully functional cosplay set.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Boy.
It fires. What if, no, it doesn't. It doesn't fire, guys. And then a little mitten, I guess, on this one. If you just want a mitten, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you'll be the warmest Mega Man this winter. At least there's
exactly.
that. That's good enough.
If I hit up Iceman's level, I'm set.
This man walking straight out of Heatman stage. Disappearing platforms can't stop me.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Disappearing platforms are trash in that because I hit up Elec Man stage and I got the fucking cannon that lets me run across.
I was about to say, in Mega Man 2, were you a remember the disappearing platform pattern man, or were you just
I'm an item 2?
I'm just gonna
I'm
use
an item
Rush
2.
Item 2. My man.
That's it. All right, I've never made that
Strats.
platform track even
Screw
one
that,
time.
man. Why would you sit there and try to remember all that with the weird
Work smarter,
sound?
not harder.
That's
all
right. Just whip
There it
out
is.
Rush and be like, "Yo, dog, carry me." Rush is like, "I got you, fam." Boom, boom, you're at the end of the stage. This is a Mega Man podcast now. That's how much is going on in Destiny.
Boom.
And of course, Mr. Nim Plays. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Oh, I see you've got another smelly Hive shirt on. How many of those do you have?
This is actually from our merch shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, well, then
We're shilling.
Thumbs
Buy our
up.
shirts.
I was gonna say thumbs down because it's Hive, but thumbs up. because
Hive do
it's
smell,
from
but
ours.
they smell better when they come from the Planet Destiny merch store.
It is.
Go buy now. And of course, I am the Black Link, and we are back to talk a bit about some of the ongoing news and stuff and things going on in the world of Destiny. Oh man, what do you, what, is that a new emote? Is that
The salty?
is that indicative
the
of
salt
something
thing.
going on right now?
I mean, the entire community.
Are we running an iodized faction rally? Is that what that symbolizes?
A little bit.
A little bit. Well,
bit.
I mean, Faction Rally's live this week. It's got some new things, it's got some old things, and it's got a whole lot of salt going along with it, doesn't it?
Seems to be a recurring theme over the past couple of weeks.
Oh, dude, especially over the past couple of weeks. It seems like one PR issue after another when it comes to Destiny 2 and Bungie. So let's go ahead and just dive on into that. So, of course, Faction Rally is this week. That's cool, that's fine and everything. But there's a few problems with it. One's not really a problem. One is something we all should have expected, but it still rubs us the wrong way, and that's the change to lost sectors. Not going to be able to farm those anymore. And as a matter of fact, you're not going to be able to farm the same lost sector or multiple lost sectors because a lockout has been added to lost sectors.
A really harsh one.
Really, maybe a little bit too on the nose with that.
Is it though?
Explain your case.
Well, I mean, okay, like I didn't expect to like get like 90% of my tokens through lost sectors. So just like I know that was the way that was done in the last one, just in the Winding Cove. But I don't know, man. Like I honestly haven't felt the lockout of the lost sectors. I'll
Really?
get a lost sector. If there's a public event, I'll go to that. And then I'll just like cycle back and forth. And by like under 2 hours, I had already like 100 tokens.
Here's my thing. I mean, you're playing the way you want to play, so that doesn't hit you. But I feel like if somebody, for whatever reason, lost sectors were their favorite thing, and they would just wanted to play them normally, they would still get, like, if they were just like, I'm just going to hop through all the lost sectors, they would get hit by this lockout in just trying to play normally, which is weird to me, to like try to force me to play a certain way. I get stopping people from cheesing them, make the lockout like every minute or whatever, then you get
like
locked
5
out
minutes, you know?
Yeah, but it's like it's a little too harsh. If you if you actually loved Lost Sectors and wanted to play them, you couldn't. Like, I don't know why you would.
Who actually enjoys just logging in and running Lost Sectors, which
I mean, dude, there's people who played D1 who like only ever did fucking patrols. Like that's all they ever did.
That's
I
true.
met people who never even went into a raid or PvP, like
Or a
trials
strike.
or anything, or
Yeah.
a strike. They just did patrols. So there's a weirdo out there
that
whose day
sounds
got
like-
kind of ruined by
That
the
sounds
10
like
minutes.
D2 as a whole.
This game was made for him, all right? That guy,
Yeah.
that
one
patrol
guy.
king out there.
This game was for you. That's we've been marketing to the wrong person all this time. We're looking for those guys who did nothing but run patrols back in D1. That's who Destiny. We finally found it. We finally found the market for D2. But for those of you who don't know, if you've been living under a rock or you haven't been playing Destiny, that's certainly a viable option right now. Lost Sectors basically had an update. In previous faction rallies, you could actually farm Lost Sectors by basically finishing a Lost Sector, getting the cache code, opening that cache, leaving, and immediately turning around and running back in to open that chest again. It would just reset every time you exited the instance and came back in. Well, we knew that was going to get patched in some way, shape, or form, and it got patched in a pretty heavy way. Bungie actually wound up putting out a bit of a blog post to address it after it started getting some steam in the community, and this is what it all had to say. Hey all, hotfix 1.1.1.3 is now available, removing Curse of Osiris requirements for faction rallies and Iron Banner. But an update has happened to Lost Sectors. We're aware of player reports about Lost Sectors not granting rewards. There was a throttle added to address an issue in the previous faction rallies where players were earning 500 tokens per hour. That was definitely me. I was one of those guys.
Oh,
I
yeah,
have
100%.
no shame. No shame. I was one of those dudes going in and getting all that gear, like, in an hour, getting enough
Yeah.
tokens to basically max out a faction in an hour, and it was great. I loved it. But continuing. Right now, if a player opens more than 2 chests in a 10-minute period, they will not receive additional rewards from Lost Sector chests for 10 minutes. This does not prevent players from completing milestones related to Lost Sector chests. So, basically, if you open 2 Lost Sector chests within a 10-minute time period, you get put on a 10-minute lockout where opening another Lost Sector chest isn't going to get anything for you. And
Anything.
nothing. You get a big fat
Yeah.
zip. You don't get any planetary materials. You don't get a token. You don't get anything.
Yeah.
And,
That's rough.
It's a pretty harsh lockout because it does not take that much time to clear out most of the lost sectors. There are
Yeah.
a few that can take like 5-6 minutes to complete, like one of the ones in the Trostlands, the EDZ, the one with the fallen shields and whatnot that you have to sequentially go through. I think that was a really cool lost sector. That one takes a little bit of time, but most of these things can take less than a minute to clear if you know where all of the enemies are, you've got a super, and you just blow your way through them, as, a lot of players are gonna do. So it's really easy to get through 2 of those within 10 minutes and then to be completely locked out of getting any sort of rewards for that. Now, like I said, I can understand why Bungie would do this. We were getting those rewards way too quickly, and I think that's one of the reasons why this faction rally feels so slow to me. I'm used to just going in, spending an hour, and then getting absolutely everything. So when I came in this week and I actually started playing it, I was like, I've been playing this for 40 minutes and I've gotten 3 engrams. This is too slow, but it's actually just as fast as it was always meant to be.
Yeah.
But when it comes to that lockout, I do think it's a little bit on the extreme side. I've been seeing some reports of that the way the lockout works is it starts when you open that second chest, and for some people, it seems to restart when you open another chest, so you kind of have to leave 10 minutes in between opening any more Lost Sector chests, or you're just going to keep restarting that lockout timer. I haven't been able to completely confirm that. I had it happen to me twice, where I timed it, I opened a chest, I waited like 8 minutes, opened another one, then waited 2 minutes, and the next chest I opened didn't do anything. Wow, and that happened to me twice, so that might be a thing that's going on right now. But 10 minutes is maybe a little harsh. It means you have to open one of these things basically every 5 minutes. Yeah. So I understand what they were going for here, but I wonder why they couldn't just code it so that, if you clear a lost sector, that's its own instance. It's got its own coding. It just toggle a flag that says, okay, lost sector in the Winding Cove cleared. Put that on cooldown. If you go to another lost sector, you can open that one up. Why do a unilateral lockout for all lost sectors?
Yeah, I'm sure it's some kind of programming issue.
The spaghetti code once again.
That damn Destiny spaghetti code.
Yeah,
rears
10
its
minutes
head again.
is super rough to just not get anything from the
Yeah.
chest. I mean, even a faction one of the planetary tokens, like none of that. It's just no.
You don't get anything. that can definitely be a little bit rough. Now, of course, the way to alleviate that is at least in the game right now, was just to go off and go to a public event or something like that, and pepper in public events in between your lost sectors, which is basically what I've been doing. But it's still, you know, a heavy-handed approach.
The good news is there's no reason to play this one anyway, so it's fine. You don't need to do this faction rally.
I want the ornaments.
But can't you get them next faction rally?
But like I want to do it.
Don't you have them all?
You might actually
right
be
now?
able to get them while faction rally's not live.
Don't you?
Really?
And
Maybe.
I'm just saying, the way that they've made the guns work now, you technically, all you need to do this faction rally is pledge your factions and then not play at all, and then just buy your gun from the winning faction at the end, and you'll guarantee get the only thing that, you know, is like hard to get. I don't know.
Why is that, Mega? Why would you only want to play the last faction rally of Season 2?
Well, TBL, what they've done is you can no longer earn weapon drops or new weapons. There's no new weapon drops in Season 2 that will come from Faction Rally, except for the winning weapons from the previous Faction Rally. So you really only need to play the last one, because by the end, all of the weapons the 4 weapons will be in the pool. Yeah. Well, technically, I think you should play all of them, just not this first one, because if you only play the last one and you use up your 30 packages and you somehow don't get all the guns, then you just, you know, burnt yourself. But if you just play the next one until you get if you play like the third one until you get the guns you didn't have or whatever, like, you're fine. I don't know. It's interesting. It's a way to go with it. They went the way they went with it.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
so
I think this is the first time I've like pledged all my guardians to New Monarchy, because
this man.
solely for the ornaments.
yeah. Well, I mean, the ornaments do look good, and that's something that
Great.
yeah, and that's something that I do believe deserves praise for Bungie, at least for this faction rally. They added stuff like ornaments, ghosts, ships, sparrows, and stuff back into the faction drop pool, which is cool. And those things will drop if you're one of the guardians who's actually playing this faction rally and you've gotten a faction to level 30. The ships and like the sparrows and whatnot will drop in those engrams after that. So it's not like the old faction rallies where all you can get is shaders past a certain number of engram turn-ins. But just pivoting back to what Mega said, the other big salty thing about this week's faction rally is, of course, there's one new weapon, and that one new weapon is a sidearm that isn't really tied to any of the factions. It's just kind of a Curse of Osiris sidearm that was put into the drop pool, and that
I think it's so weird that it's one random sidearm.
It's
That's
just one
still
random
funny to
sidearm.
me.
I mean, I did the weekly reset vid and like the faction rally vid for PD, and so I'm like going through the engrams, and I think I specifically said that in my video, like, I only see a new sidearm in here, but like, we've looked at the database, there's supposed to be like 14, 15 new guns in here, so I'm sure it'll show up in the engrams, right? Yeah.
I'm having really bad RNG right now.
Just give it to me, chat. Just slap me with that F. Press F for my loot drops. Yeah, so there's about 15 new weapons that were added to the database. So a lot of people were expecting these to be drops, and Bungie later came out and confirmed, because if you've been playing, you haven't gotten any of those new guns. No, none of those are in the drop pool. The only new weapons are going to be the ones that are the weekly winning rewards for the faction that winds up getting the most support. And for each subsequent faction rally, they're going to be adding in that winning reward to the loot pool. So by the time the final faction rally rolls around towards the end of Season 2, all of those weapons should be available in the faction engrams, which is why everybody is saying don't play until the last faction rally. I can't argue against it unless you're looking for ornaments. Yeah, if you want the weapons, wait till the last faction rally. You don't need to play any of them until then.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the only reason why I'm grinding out is it's only the New Monarchy ornaments that interested me, because like the Dead Orbit one and the Future War Cult, like, I like the shader that the new shader for Future War Cult, because it's not, you know, an eyesore.
Yeah.
But as far as like the ornaments go, they don't really stand out as much as the New Monarchy ones. Gotta have that lion.
Yeah, so with this faction rally, of course, they added in a bunch of new ornaments. And there's an ornament set for every single faction. It basically takes the base faction armor. So if you've already gotten the armor from previous faction rallies, you don't need to do any more grinding for armor. You can just work towards unlocking these ornaments. And each ornament has a specific challenge tied to it to unlock it. And yeah, that's been the only thing I've been doing in Faction Rally for this past week. I've been skipping out on tokens. I've been skipping out on running that content to actually get any engrams or anything. I've just been playing to unlock the ornaments, and that's something I'll give Bungie praise for. Yeah, it was a good move. This is the kind of thing I was looking for, and I found myself, over the week just playing on all 3 characters because I was trying to unlock ornaments and whatnot.
Yeah.
For the 3 factions, and I thought this is kind of what I want. This is one of the things that's been missing from Destiny 1.
Give us cool shit to grind for.
Yeah, give me a reason to log into the game. And looking at that Titan or Future War Cult ornament set, I thought that looks freaking cool. I want it. So I've been playing through, and the challenges aren't too hard. It'll be stuff like participate in public events on Earth.
Yeah.
Use supers to get kills, generate orbs of light, and stuff like that. So they're not hard challenges. Yeah, it's good to just go and kill things with super or masterworks weapons. Easy money.
Yeah. I went into the Leviathan, into the Castellum, just infinite Cabal with all my masterworks on. Just bam.
That's actually it's a good idea. I didn't think about that. There's most of these ornament challenges were super easy, but there were a few that took a little bit longer, were kind of rough, like getting grenade kills and strikes. That's probably the hardest of them, and I think it was a Future War Cult ornament challenge. So I made a quick video guide for fast ways to get the harder ones done. Like for the Future War Cult, you can just go into the Nightfall and just go into a lost sector and throw grenades forever. So much better than running strikes because the Nightfall has torrent. But that's the kind of thing I want to see moving forward for Destiny. I think there should be a lot more of that kind of thing going forward. And while I will say most of the ornaments this time are pretty cool, the Dead Orbit ones are probably the weakest.
Yeah,
it's just a little bit of paint on your face.
Yeah. As a hunter that is a Dead Orbit fan, really no reason for me to play this Faction Rally at all.
Yep.
Even the new Monarchy ones being cool. It's like, well, am I going to get ornaments for my garbage mobility armor that I never wear? That's it's just literal trash to me. So yeah, it sucks to be a hunter right now who loves Dead Orbit. I got a couple of that new shader, I guess. That's what I got to go for.
No, you just made a mistake. You should have pledged to either New Monarchy or Future War Cult, because the ornament set for hunters looks great for the both of them.
But what am I going to use those ornaments for? To just stunt around in the tower in my mobility gear, walk a little faster? What up?
Yeah.
What up, guys?
You look cooler. That's
the end game. Glamour's the end game, man.
Maybe when you look this cool in real life, don't worry about your fashion in game. All right. All right.
Yeah, you're right.
All right. Oh no, my hair.
Oh, your hat.
Mega Man doesn't have hair. Well, actually, he has flowing locks.
He does have beautiful flowing hair. Yeah.
You see that in the beginning of every wonderful old school Mega Man game. I love that building. So adding that kind of stuff, the kind of appearance based in-game stuff, I thought that was a good move by Bungie, and that's the kind of thing I want to see moving forward, especially for Iron Banner, for Strikes. And thankfully we've heard back from Christopher Barrett. He said he wants to add that kind of stuff back for Strikes. He says he wants to add boss specific loot to the game. I think that's cool. That's neat. Lost sector specific loot, that's neat. That's the kinds of things I want to hear. But outside of that, I have no real reason to play this Faction Rally. And when it comes to the weapon thing, that's caused a real resurgence of the salt levels within the community. And on one hand, I completely understand it, because it's something that everybody was expecting. There's certainly precedent for it. Each Faction Rally previous to this has added new stuff for you to go after in terms of weapons and armor and whatnot. And I feel like if Bungie had just said, oh, and by the way, for this new Faction Rally, the only thing that's going to be, you're going to have new armor ornaments, you're going to have new ships, you're going to have sparrows and faction this stuff, but no new weapons. The only weapons that are going to be available are the winning or faction weapons that you'll be able to get. They could have sidestepped this whole issue that's going on right now. And I feel like it's just another really unfortunate case of miscommunication from Bungie and the player base.
It seemed like it took longer for them to address it than was necessary. It was like 2 days, I feel like, of people being like, is this a bug? What's going on here? I don't understand.
Over and over.
It was like, I feel like it would have just been like, oh no, it's not a bug. We meant I just don't know why it took a while.
Imagine the one guy that was responsible to put that information out there, and it was just like, oh no.
And I mean, because at this point, it's just another. It's just kind of another slap in the face for those who think that there's a real issue going on with Bungie, and not so much just transparency, but just their ability to communicate what's going on with their game to a community that's obviously in distress about the state of their game. I mean, there's no real way around it. These last couple of weeks have been really eye-opening in several ways, showing that Destiny 2 right now, it's got a lot of work that needs to be done. Like an absolute metric ton of work that needs to be done before it's a game that I think is really worthy of the amount of time a lot of players want to spend on it. Because at the end of the day, people want to play this game. That's why people are so upset. They know how good this can be. We had a perfect example of PvE towards the end of Destiny 1, and we know what the game is capable of. And it's not there right now. And I feel like you got something on your mind.
Yeah. No, it's just what's upsetting is that clearly the new direction that they try to take the game into, separating everything in terms of changing the crucible and changing the way there's no bounties even though there are challenges, and all this stuff. It feels like instead of going forward, we're going back. So you know what I mean? It's like we're not evolving the game, we're reverting it to how Destiny 1 ended, which it ended really, really well. But now that just means that we have another whole year to cycle the game through just to get it to where D1 ended and then build on from there.
Well, because, it feels like there were a lot of risks taken at Bungie with D2. They decided to make a lot of decisions, and I do believe a lot of those decisions did not pan out in a way that's really satisfactory to a large portion of the player base. I mean, you can see that in player numbers. It's been dropping steadily for the past month or so. The new content of Curse of Osiris did not help the game's player numbers at all. It was overall not a bad DLC, but certainly a lackluster one. Yeah. And I think the Destiny Community Podcast, their episode for this week or last week now, by the time you guys are watching or listening to this, was really good. They really got in depth on some of the way some of the things that are wrong with Destiny right now, and it echoed a lot of my feelings for the game. Whereas I think there should be kind of a reflection moment at Bungie right now, where they look at the game and they say, okay, we decided a lot of things. A lot of them haven't panned out. The change to the weapon system hasn't panned out as well as we like. The change to PvP hasn't panned out as well as we like. The player base, definitely on a large scale. Not everybody who plays Destiny 2 hates it. I certainly know a lot of people who love the game the way it is, but there's certainly a very large amount of players who are not happy with the state of the game, and I would include myself among them. I barely find time to play Destiny 2 these days. I don't really have a reason to get on and play it, and I'm a content creator for it, and I can't find a reason to get on the game.
I get on like reset day, I do my milestones, and then I find it to be just a complete chore to find any reason to play outside of that. And even to the point where today, me and the other members of Husky Raid were like, do you think we'll ever make new content? We were like, maybe not. We just can't even see the point in putting together a fun dance video or anything. Because the community is just, I don't know, it feels very a very down note right now in the
and
in the game,
and I think like I said, this must be a reflection moment for Bungie to look at a lot of the changes they made between Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, and work on things, and in a lot of cases, like Nim said, revert back to the what they had before. Because what they had before was certainly working in a large capacity. And I don't know all the answers to how to balance this game, but I do certainly know that there's a lot of issues with it right now. And I think it's kind of hard to say. I think weapons definitely need a tuning. The Sandbox team, we in the development update, the blog we got a couple of weeks ago, they talked a bit about Sandbox changes. Basically, they just said they're coming. We'll tell you about them later. And I think that was a really big misstep, because that's probably the number one thing.
That's the thing I care about the most by far. Yeah, because it's been the same game, the same meta, the same kind of kind of fun at times, but largely kind of stale with the same like four types of four weapons for
Slower Destiny.
its entirety. Its entirety of the game has been the same.
And yeah, you're right on there that was a misstep on that, because one of the things that Christopher mentioned in that development update was that, beforehand they were very, closed up about what they were working on behind the scenes, and then he goes on to say, no more of that. But the last TWAB that we got this week at Bungie, the little update that we got on the sandbox was just as vague as anything that we've gotten in the past. So it was a little just it sucked to see that it was contradictory, because I expected at least some hints on how they're going to change the sandbox, because I mean if Christopher has already mentioned on Twitter, if you guys are not aware, about the weapons, on how sniper rifles, fusions, and shotguns, they want to revert them back to how they used to be in terms of like power. Return to the former glory, as he said. And if in the future we're gonna see the 6v6 come back, we're gonna have to see a pretty big like sandbox shake to accommodate for whatever that meant to return those weapons to their former glory. And we just need a little bit. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Just talk to us. And I've actually got the This Week at Bungie up, and specifically the section where they talk about sandbox changes. And I'm going to go ahead and read it out so everybody can know exactly what we're talking about here. So this is coming from Josh Hamrick, who talked a bit about what's going to be happening moving forward. Hi everybody, Sandbox here. We just wanted to drop in for a moment to verify that we're already hard at work and making progress on various improvements, the various improvements that Christopher Barrett outlined last week. Additionally, I wanted to give you all a better insight as to how the next several months are shaping up. Started off sounding pretty good. As with any plans, the first item on the list are the clearest and most well-defined. For most of these, we're already hard at work and making good progress on them. The Exotic Pass is moving forward nicely with John Wisniewski at the helm. The team has also been talking about things we want to see in the next Balance Pass, coming to you in Season 3 for the last several weeks. Also, Grant McKay has put together a really exciting plan for Mods 2.0 that will open their requirements up significantly, allowing them to be more potent in ways that you'll end up feeling directly in your ability uptime and therefore total power output. The rest of the crew, you ask? Oh, they're just hard at work on super exciting new content to put smiles on all your faces before the year is out. And that's just beginning. Items further down the list. There's a point here. I'm going to read the entire thing.
No, I want all of that. I want it now.
Items further down the list need more planning and more time to actually implement. Most need both. On top of that, some need groundwork that we will be laying with earlier changes. In all these cases, though, the team is already discussing and planning for them in one way or another. As usual, we are excited to work on building something that you'll love and that feels great to play, because Sandbox loves you. And the final paragraph. 2018 is shaping up to be a huge year for all of us, and there's plenty of Sandbox improvements and changes coming your way. As we move closer to realizing all of the new efforts being made, we'll continue to show up here to share many more details about how it's all shaping up and how it all will work. We expect you to keep showing up and sharing your feedback and passion for the game. Talk to you again soon, Josh Hamrick. Sounds great, right? What did any of that say?
I don't know, but I want it.
It just basically said, "Hey, we hear you. We're doing stuff.
We're listening.
We're listening." and that's it. And
that's it. Yeah, there's no detail on that.
It was a bunch of flowery speech that kind of was a little tone deaf in my opinion, because don't tell us you're listening, show that you're listening. Well, the one thing the community has been asking for is more communication, more transparency. And like I said before, I think the single most important factor to whether or not Bungie can kind of recover, or rather Destiny 2 can kind of recover amongst the eyes of its community, are those upcoming sandbox changes. It all hinges on that. That's what we want to hear about, and making a sweeping generalization like, hey, we're working on Sandbox, you're going to get your cooldowns a little bit faster, Mods 2.0 is coming, bye.
There was only...
Not enough.
There was only one sentence in that entire, thing that you just read that hints at what the sandbox is going to be, and
Yep.
that's where he says also Grant McKay has put together a really exciting plan for mods 2.0, and that will open the requirements up to significantly allowing them to be more potent in ways that you'll end up feeling more directly in your ability, uptime, and therefore total power. That was literally it.
Yeah, that's it. And that's just saying your cooldowns are going to get a little bit faster. How much
Yeah.
faster? We don't know because they didn't tell us. And I think
Better be
I just laugh. I'm just laughing really hard every time I hear mods 2.0 or like that they've just put together an exciting plan, because I'm just like, so that was actually it. Like,
That's it.
I still laugh that what shipped in the game was their actual, like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
We're cool now. That's all we wanted to do with
yeah,
them.
we cool now, right, dog? We cool.
Yeah.
No!
What? You can't
from
sell
that
me
nonsense.
mods like they're going to be awesome and give me nothing. I
it's-
just love it. Yeah.
Especially because when it comes to the mods 2.0 thing, I'm glad they're making a change to it. But the fact that they're making a change now tells me that the mod system we have in Destiny 2 really was all they had
Yeah.
planned.
That's what's crazy to me.
that's
yeah.
it.
Like,
This extremely lackluster, half-baked cookie of a mod system we have in Destiny 2, where for armor, I guess it's kind of helpful for getting like kinetic or counterbalance mods and whatnot, or reload speed mods. Those help, but for weapons, is absolutely lacking in every way,
yeah.
shape, and form. Mods are
It's
useless
like-
on weapons. That was
it's
all
like
they
my
had
mom.
planned.
It's like my mom told me she was gonna make me like a delicious pasta dinner, and then I get home and there's just like spaghetti
Noodles.
with nothing on it.
Nothing.
And then I'm like, wait, like there's no sauce or anything? She's like, oh, I'm working on that, and she pulls out like whole tomatoes.
And like
that's what it
you're
feels
over
like.
there
Like she
making the
didn't.
sauce, like she
Yeah.
never planned it to make any
Did
sauce.
not have any.
She just wanted to
plan for
throw
that.
wet noodles at me.
Yeah.
And that's what the mod system in Destiny 2 is. It's a wet noodle.
Yes.
A wet noodle that isn't sticking, and it's just like
That means it ain't done.
crap.
If it doesn't stick,
It
that
ain't
means
done.
it ain't done. All right.
It ain't
There's
done.
a little noodle cooking
Yep.
lesson for you.
for all you college kids out there who are like,
Yeah.
is this cooked enough? Is it sticking to something?
Throw it at the wall.
There
if
you
it
go.
sticks, it's good.
Pick it back up. And and the fact that that's what they brought up. That was the example they gave us. It's not a very substantive explanation there. They don't really explain what exactly they're changing. They're just saying that your cooldowns are going to get faster. How much faster? We don't know. I think they're kind of missing a really important step here that needs to change soon, because if people are going to continue with this game, they need to know that there's going to be something worth their time playing. A lot of
Yeah.
people are, especially Destiny 1 players, are missing that feeling that we had playing D1. Nim, you're my brother, man. You go back and play D1 every single week. You know exactly what I'm talking about when you load up into the game and the weekly heroic strikes are solar burn small arms, and you pick a Titan or you pick a Hunter or you pick a Warlock, and you're literally just gliding through strikes, destroying everything in sight
Yeah.
with these 25-second grenade cooldowns. I think the fastest you can get in D2 is like 1 minute and 9 seconds or something like that. There's between the movement system, the ability cooldowns, the weapons having a primary, secondary, and a heavy weapon, being able to have a hand cannon, a sniper rifle, and a rocket launcher. There's a clear difference in the way Destiny 1 feels and the way Destiny 2 feels. And I feel like sandbox changes, if they're going to be affecting stuff like that, they need to be upfront and forward right now talking about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if, they haven't fine-tuned things in the background. They just say, okay, this week we're taking a look at auto rifles, seeing if we can patch those up a little bit. We're also looking at, maybe implementing a faster time to kill across the board. It doesn't have to be anything concrete. Just as long as we know they're looking and working at it, is
So
usually
we know what
enough.
direction they're
Yeah.
working at on it. Yeah.
I can think
Yeah,
of so many
TBO.
other examples of other developers, whether it's Massive and The Division, and their weekly address to the community, where they get in front of they get in front of a camera for like an hour and talk about every single thing they're changing in the in their current patches. Like, we're going to be buffing this, we're going to be nerfing this, or like Overwatch, and they have their developer releases every so often. And with Bungie, it's just super quiet until like right before something comes out, and there's very little time for community engagement. And I think in the situation that they're in right now, where the PR for their game is super crappy, no company wants to have their game looked at the way Bungie's been. I think there was like 4 negative stories about Destiny 2 in like main game stream media this week alone. That's not a good position to be in, and radio silence isn't good.
There's there's this particular tweet that Josh Hamrick did a couple days ago that gives me a little bit of hope that, you know, they know where we want the at least the PvE sandbox to feel like. And he says, at the highest level, we want to make you feel more like a god as you play the game. I think that will influence all of our decisions, and I believe is what, if you totally condense it all down to a single statement, is what I'm hearing from the community as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's something that you feel if you load up Destiny 1 right
Absolutely.
now. And you go play a strike or any kind of PvE activity. That's what you feel powerful. You don't feel like you're being held back by your movement or by your ability cooldown, where you have to like, do I want to use this now or do I want to keep it for like later on? You know,
I'm not going to get this grenade back until, you know, like a minute and 15 seconds. So I gotta be real careful with it. Nah, D1, you toss that thing 25 seconds later or faster, it's back. And that's part of the, you know, just knowing what we know about Destiny 2's development. We know that, you know, they were looking at a lot of these things behind the scene, and I don't like the individuals in the community who are saying that Bungie, who are sending a specific amount of hate Bungie's way. They didn't set out to create a game that you would hate. No gaming company does that. And based on what we know from reports, there's a significant number of people at Bungie who feel the exact same way you do. Yeah. There's from previous reporting, even from interviews with like Luke Smith and John Wisniewski before D2 came out, there's a significant part of Bungie's dev team that didn't agree with the move to dual primaries. There's a significant part that didn't agree to the move to a 4v4 PvP for everything. And I've seen this notion that, hey man, we tailor what you're sending to Christopher Barrett, because, you know, it's not all his fault. And we know it's not his fault. But a part of me wants to believe that deep down inside, he was probably one of those people saying, nah, man, a move to a dual primary system is dumb. People are going to hate it. A move to this PvP system, it's dumb. People are going to hate it. And I bet there's a few devs behind the scenes at Bungie who are just like, told you. looking at Wisniewski, I told you. Vindication, baby.
Being on the live team at Bungie has
so
to be a
bad
lot
for him.
like letting a little kid like pretend to fix something, like make something, you know, and then like, and you know they're fucking it up the whole time, and then like you're just like, all right, here we go, no, I'll actually fix it, you know, like
live team comes in like,
yeah,
you did great building your castle. Go to the other room now. Putting it together.
Exactly. Like you let your kid take the instructions and build the Lego Death Star, you know, for a little bit, but it comes out all wonky and weird, and then you're like, when they go to sleep, you're like, all right, fuck, let's go, let's fix this now. Yeah.
And you know, one of the things that's going on right now, of course, the live team has taken charge of development on Destiny 2. It's very similar to what happened with D1 after the Taken King, when the dev teams at Bungie split. And I think the main team went off to go start working on Destiny 2, and the live team took over development for Destiny 1. And I think the live team did an incredible job of perfecting the way PvE was supposed to feel in D1. By the time Age of Triumph came out, that was some of the best PvE experience I can think of in at least the last 10 years of gaming for me. There's 100%. Always something to do in Destiny 1. There's all kinds of raids. Strikes are fun. You have a story playlist you can get into. By the way, you can just consider what I'm saying right now a checklist of things that need to be back in D2. There was ornaments to go after. There was challenge raids for special exotics and whatnot. All this kind of super fun stuff. There's absolutely tons of things to do in Destiny 1. And if you didn't like PvE, PvP was in an okay spot. Not the best spot, but an okay spot. And that was all thanks to the live team. And I kind of hate the fact that we know now the team has split once again. The live team is in charge of Destiny 2, and the main team is off working on Destiny 3. That rubs me the wrong way. I don't like that. I don't like that. And I understand there's contractual obligations. They have to go get to work on Destiny 3 as per orders from Activision. But I feel like that's such a mistake with Destiny 2 in the state that it's in right now, because it's absolutely not in an acceptable state, in my opinion. And for the team to sequester off and start working on the next coming game, ooh, that rubs me the wrong way.
It rubs me the wrong way too. I just want to say, because basically what we've seen is twice from like a PR standpoint, they fucked it up. So it really rubs me the wrong way that they're just going to leave again and probably fuck it up again. And then maybe the live team will fix it in a year for the next one too.
And I feel so bad for Christopher Barrett and the live team, because I think I said this last week. It feels like they were just kind of given this half-built Lego set, like you said, Mega, and said, here you go, you're in charge now. We're off to open the new box of Legos. And the live team's like, what am I supposed to do with this half-cooked burger? I didn't order this. This isn't my number one. Come on, man. Yeah. And so they're in charge of basically this huge mess right now. Thankfully, Christopher Barrett's fantastic. That dude's always been one of my favorites there at Bungie. And at least with the recent tweets he's been putting out, he seems to be tapping a vein that's really at the heart of the community right now. He's addressed, a change to weapons needs to happen. A change to the way players feel needs to happen. There was this great thread on the Destiny the Game subreddit this week that was basically from a lore standpoint. If the Traveler's awake, why are we as Guardians weaker than we ever were in D1?
Yep.
He's got all the light now. We don't.
Yeah. He took it, Cool. Ran out of light, it was that bargain sale at the end of Age of Triumph. It was buy one, get one free. They ran out of stock. No more light. Sorry.
No, but his dad woke up and he caught us using the credit card online, and he took it away. He's like, you come to me. All right, you want to buy something now.
What's funny is that when Hamrick did that tweet about feeling more like a god, I retweeted that and I was like, this is what I felt like at the end of D1. I felt like a god for sure. And I'm hoping to have that same feeling return in D2. And then I put, after all, the Traveler is awake and his light moves through us all.
Yeah,
One could say it's daybreak.
Oh, there you go. And I mean, yeah, that's just a lore reason for why. But, of course, players want to feel powerful. Video games, especially a space magic video game like Destiny, is all about the power fantasy. It's all about the power fantasy. And we had that in D1. We absolutely had that. Especially towards the end with Age of Triumph. Like, oh my gosh, I love logging in to Destiny 1 and just looking at the login screen and just looking at my character and seeing my Warlock in that that mixture of like Crota gear and like Wrath of the Machine gear, and I'm like swirling and my ornaments are bursting out flames, and it's like, I pick it up and I feel powerful and I look cool, and it's all these things that I definitely want, and I don't know why it wasn't in D2 from the start. Yeah. I really don't know. I feel
like, those ornaments are, super badass. They're raid ornaments.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, I feel like the ornamentations that right now we have for, like, the factions, they're suited. They're suited for that. But have you seen the ornaments for the Eater of Worlds?
Doesn't it just change the color?
It changes the color, and there's, like, a very light, super subtle, like, kind of holographic look to it. And I was just like, you guys can do better. We've seen this. Come on.
Yeah, because we have something to compare it to. By the way, I think it's extremely telling. I haven't even played Eater of Worlds. I haven't even done that raid. I'm somebody who used to do raid carries every single day on stream for Planet Destiny through all of the raids. I haven't even touched Eater of Worlds.
I've only done it once, but I think you'd like it, TBL. I mean, I don't think it's fix the game. When it first dropped, there were some people who were like, that was worth the price of the DLC alone. And I was like, I don't know, 30 minutes of a raid is worth the price of this DLC, but you keep saying that. That's cool.
It was a fun raid.
It's a fun encounter. It's a fun encounter.
I've watched it. It looks incredible, and the raid content in Destiny 2 has definitely been on point. I just don't feel a need to go in and do it.
Yeah,
and that goes doubly so for prestige content. I think prestige content is absolutely a wash right now.
I haven't even thought about doing a prestige raid even one time in Destiny 2.
Yep, I have done exactly 2 prestige nightfalls, and that's it. No other prestige activities.
It's not worth it. You don't get it. What's the point?
You don't get anything special, yeah.
Yeah. Even though like the comparisons and rewards to the normal raid versus the prestige raid, you get the same set, but it's it's like golden and it has like that purple glowy bits on some of them. At least I like that they did that, because if we remember, normal mode loot in like original Destiny was just the same thing. In hard mode, it was just a higher light level. So I'm glad that they're still kind of like moving forward with that. But I would love to see them go all out with like the ornamentations for like the higher end stuff, like the raid. Also, another thing that I was thinking about, and this goes back into like why the gear doesn't have like raid specific mods or perks.
That's another really weird change.
One of the things that I was thinking about the other day, and it kind of just hit me, and I was just like, well, I remember going into like PvP or like Iron Banner or Trials when I used to play Trials with my buddies, and I would wear raid armor and I would hinder myself because that's it's raid gear, so it has those raid specific perks instead of like faster reload or a faster melee or
like second wind or whatnot.
Yeah. So I feel like they probably may have taken out those raid specific perks so you can wear the gear wherever the hell you want, so you won't be like hindered by it. But now we're in the state where it's like,
fuck that noise.
Yeah,
that's nonsense. Fuck that. All right, I want to say, I think I have one of my biggest disappointments in D2 is the armor system. Like, weapon system, whatever. Fixed rules, I'm kind of cool with. I mean, it's a little bit boring to get the same stuff for whatever, but the armor changes is just nonsense to me. I don't need to look a certain way when I'm playing certain activities. Give me the fucking things that are cool to use in certain activities that are meaningful. I don't know. That's
silly. I think they made a conversation. Yeah, I think they talked a bit about that, and the specific reason they removed that kind of unique gear or those kind of unique perks from that gear is because they didn't want to put something behind content and say, okay, well, you can only get this in this thing, and it's not really useful anywhere else. And I do think that was a mistake. I loved having gear in PvP that helped me in PvP, or gear in PvE that helped me in Vault of Glass.
That was like my favorite thing about like armor was like, okay, beating the raid gives me something that then makes it easier to beat the raid the next time, again. And it's like you improve each time. Like I don't know, like unlocking the Outbreak Prime was like, okay, this thing makes it so easy to get through parts of the raid now. Like you just melt ads with this thing, and I don't know, stupid. It's stupid. Come on, man. What are you doing?
In like my perfect like world of Destiny, I would have loved to see like armor and whatnot be fully customizable by us. So like let's say just completely forget that perks were a thing, and you have like 5 slots where you can put in mods, whatever mod that you want. Yeah. And you can customize your armor however the hell you want. If you want, this raid set with like increased energy, energy weapon handling, bam, slap that baby on there. If you want extra like melee range, bam, slap a mod on that, like that would be neato.
Which again, like it seems so obvious, and it makes me wonder why in the world it wasn't in place in the first place. That seems to be a recurring theme with Destiny 2. Why in the world wasn't this in place in the first place? And that's the kind of thing that we need to be hearing from Bungie, not these, I don't want to say condescending, but definitely tone-deaf statements about, we're going to have a great 2018, and we're hearing you guys, we're listening. Don't worry, sandbox changes are coming, but we're not going to talk to you about them at literally the most pivotal point in our game's history right now. Because you can make a lot of comparisons between Destiny 2, the current state of the game, and the Taken King during the Taken Spring. Remember that super long period of time where there was just no content and no communication from Bungie? It
was like 6 months.
It was like 6 months of nerfs and then nothing else. It was extremely frustrating as a player.
Taken King came out, September
2020, it was September, it might have been the 9th.
The 9th, I want to say it was the 9th of
2015.
15, right? And then the next update was on April of
2016. It was a long time, and like it was, and the only, like I said, the only thing that changed in between that time was just nerfs. There was nerfs to pulse rifles, nerfs to Doctrine of Passing, nerfs to Sunbreakers. It was just nerfed all that kind of stuff and no other communication. This is also when the infamous auto rifle nerf happened. The 0.04% thing, or was that a buff? I can't remember. I think
it was like supposed to be a buff.
Supposed to be a 4% buff, and it was like 0.04. Yeah. What's the point? One damage every. I'm still salty about that. It was like 1 point of damage like every 100,000 shots. Like what do you mean? Or something like that. But that's what I compare Destiny 2 right now. I compare it to that time in Destiny 1, where there was a lot of issues with the community. Yeah. There was a lot of issues with the game. Here's the difference. What saved the game during that time period? Do you guys remember what it was?
The game being fun.
the game being fun. Trials, PvP.
yeah.
The fact that the only raid that was relevant at the time was, of course, King's Fall, but strikes and all that kind of stuff was fun. PvP was fun. That was when Trials was still hitting record numbers of viewership and player
Trials
numbers
was
in the
hot
game.
then, man.
Trials was hot.
Oh yeah.
And D2 doesn't have that fallback right now. D2, if you're not happy with the way PvE feels right now, you probably feel the same about PvP. And I see a lot of people comparing right now to that time period in Destiny 1, and I think it's an interesting comparison. It's definitely worthwhile, since it seems like we're having the same sorts of issues communication-wise with Bungie as we did back then. But what saved the game for D1 was PvP, until Bungie came out in the Taken Spring and started making new stuff. And that's another huge issue with Destiny 2 right now. The PvP doesn't always feel great to play. At least in my opinion. I'm not the biggest. I don't hate Destiny 2 PvP, but I definitely don't like it as much as Destiny 1 PvP.
It's not as exciting to watch, I don't think, for anybody.
It really isn't.
And that's why, like, I mean, all of the most of the people that were on top of the Trials directory then, you know, like they were like the big players. Like they don't stream Trials anymore, you know.
They don't play Destiny anymore.
Yeah,
they don't play Destiny anymore.
No, because it's not as exciting to watch. Like that's just all there is to it, really.
Yeah.
I guess.
I think, a lot of the big PvP players are gone. Lumi doesn't play anymore, I don't think. Triple Wreck doesn't play anymore, I don't think. And something that's been kind of a theme this past week, I think it's interesting how it's all happening at the same time. Several big content creators have basically come out and said, we're not going to be featuring Destiny as our primary content anymore. I think Datto had a video talking about that. Holtzman
He just
said,
did one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to be focusing on that. King Gathalion is now moving his branding away from Destiny. I don't even think he's calling GuardianCon anymore. I think he's just calling it GC. And the reason for that is because, nobody's playing the game right now. They're all moving away because there's nothing really there for them.
And there's nothing wrong for content creators out there. I think that's a smart move, no matter what the state of the game is, because you don't want to hitch everything to one wagon necessarily. Like if you're a solo person,
can we please cover other games? Like
it's fine, baby.
We need to.
It's fine, baby. But it can be a dangerous thing in general to be too focused on only one thing in life. You gotta be able to diversify. So I get that, but it's not a good thing when everybody is diversifying all at once. That's probably a sign. Like if it was just like one person was like, you know what, Dad was just like, I'm gonna branch into some other stuff for fun.
I'm done.
Just for fun. But when it's Datto, it's Holtzman, and it's like everybody out there, and it's even Husky Raid, all of us being like, we don't really even want to do anything in this game. We don't play it, so as much. That's
all I'm saying is Monster Hunter World is on its way, and it will take 0 prisoners. But yeah, and all of that happening at the same time, I do believe is certainly a sign that there do need to be fundamental changes to Destiny 2. And I think the first step of that is telling us about those fundamentals. I know I keep pivoting back to this point, but why? Just tell us about the sandbox changes. It's so important, and you're not saying anything about it. Come on, man. I want to play your game. I want to like your game. I want to love it. But I got nothing to work on right now, and it's hard to convince yourself to play it. At least if you're me, it's hard for me to convince myself to hop on and play Destiny 2 right now. I've been jamming out on other stuff.
Same.
Yeah.
But
that's my rant.
As far as like there's always going to be a time where a lot of the content creators that that grew up on Destiny eventually diversify into other things, and I think
it's a good idea.
With the King Gathalion thing, and his rebranding, because I read the subletter he put out, and like literally the first sentence that he has on there is, "I love Destiny and I always will," but he's just he's rebranding it to his his logo and in his brand. So I mean, I'm sure later on in the year when like the Taken King equivalent, because honestly I think it's going to be by that point later in the year where Destiny 2 is going to feel good. Right now we're on the road to reparation. That's when we're going to see like a lot of the the people that started and they grew with Destiny 1 kind of poke their way. It's like, oh hey, let's see how it is right now.
Yeah, I don't think the finality of this situation is as dire as a lot of people as a lot of people are pretending. This will always be a game, and I do honestly believe that Bungie, as goofy as the meme is, I do believe they are listening, and I do believe now that the live team is in charge, they've got a great history of working with the community and bringing us things that we truly enjoy in Destiny. I do believe they're working behind the scenes to really make some big changes to Destiny 2. I do believe that's going to happen. And I do believe, maybe a year down the line, if you're somebody who stopped playing Destiny 2, don't really feel a reason to come back to it. I do believe maybe a year down the line, Destiny 2 is probably going to be in a much better spot. I'm not going to advocate for anybody to stick it out for that long, but I'm saying if you want to pop back in a year and see if the game's in a better place, I think it probably will be. I just want them to talk about those changes that they're making. Because right now, that's probably the best thing they could do. Like tomorrow, was just call up Deej and be like, I've got an article for you. We're putting out everything. Everything? Everything. and talk about every little minute change that they're making to the game system coming.
A constant line of communication would make it a lot easier to swallow that there's going to be a long while before the game is the exciting thing that we want it to be.
I still... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and with some of the... big systemic changes that I do believe need to happen, and I do believe are probably going to come. Changes to like the weapon system, the mod system, PvP. Those changes are probably going to take a long time to get in. Like we're talking maybe late summer at the earliest, but probably whenever, like Nim said, like a Taken King style expansion comes out later this year. It's probably when you'll be seeing some of those big systemic changes. If they can do it earlier than that, fantastic. But yeah, just give us a constant line of communication on what's coming.
They have the Twitch studio to do so, and it still bewilders me that they don't put that to use. And I'm always going to refer back to Digital Extremes because they have fantastic communication with their community by holding 2 live streams a week. They have their prime time and they have their dev stream. Well, they'll show you bare bones of what they're working on. And, they're very clear. And, Warframe is a game that has been evolving, like... Every year, something big comes to Warframe, and they show you like path by path. It's like I remember when the Plains of Eidolon, started being a thing. In their dev streams, they talked about it and they kind of showed you the planes, and they talked about some of the issues on what was going on and what might not make it into it. And even with like their new frames, 1 week they'll show you the concept of the frame, then the next time they'll show you what some of the abilities might revolve, and they're like, hey, this is a work in progress, things are going to change, all
of it's subject to change.
And I get this. That's something that they have the studio for, and of course, I don't know how, if it's a time constraint on why they can't do it, but they have the studio, they have the resources to keep a steady line of communication with us outside of the TWAB. So, I don't know. It's weird that they're not putting that to use.
Yeah. I think, and I think at this point it's more important than ever for them to get out in front of things and just talk. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they talked about this. They've been afraid to put out information before they had it finalized, like before they had things concrete. Don't be afraid of that. If you say if 1 week you're saying we're testing out like a 15% range boost to, I don't know, pulse rifles or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the next week, we had to throw that out. It made them a little bit too strong. That's fine. That's perfectly fine.
Information like that, putting out or possibly incorrect information only matters if you give it to me and then you say nothing for like 6 months. And then when it shows up, you don't tell me that wasn't going to be there. And then I try and I'm like, what the hell? This was supposed to be here. Like you obviously saw everybody for months being like, I can't wait for this thing that they said here, and you
not
never
saying
like,
anything.
No, just fucking it's fine to be like the internet is full of assholes. There's always assholes everywhere, but like that's coming. The masses in general, I think, can handle you talking to them like being real and just being adults. Like, oh, we threw this.
Change.
Sorry, we had to throw this out. No big deal.
That's cool.
Yeah,
okay. It's like okay.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know why they're so hesitant about showing some of the development processes. It's like, as people that have been playing this game for 4 years now, we know things are going to change. Things they never stay the same. So
Well, unless it's the meta in D2, then it always stays the same.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoy your dual primary.
Yeah.
Hope you like that auto rifle. That auto
Roll
rifle
nut
meta,
to butt
baby.
team shooting. Mm.
But come
Yeah,
on,
and-
it's like,
I think that's probably the single most important thing that they could do right now. More so than really anything else. More so than, focusing on whatever's coming in the upcoming DLC, which is probably like a month, maybe a month and a half away. I wonder if that's going to
more.
get delayed. Probably
If
not,
not
because
more.
they're under contract. But I have to imagine they have most of the next DLC pack finished, and probably saw the response to Curse of Osiris and was like, "Oh, we need to change some things." But
I'm not gonna need to buy any salt for my French fries for months when that DLC comes out.
Beautifully iodized salt. Good for you. But I feel like that's the most important thing they could do right now. Just talk to us about what's going on, especially things going on with the sandbox. What are you testing behind the scenes? What are you thinking about testing? That's what they need to do, and I earnestly hope that's what we're going to be seeing going forward, because I want to like this game. I really do. I love Destiny 1, and I like Destiny 2, and I want to love Destiny 2 the way I love Destiny 1. Right now, it's just not half the game Destiny 1 is.
Yeah.
And it's confusing, and it's strange, and it makes me scared.
all I'm saying is, if anybody over there at good old Bungie is listening to us, don't be afraid to talk to us, man. We know things change.
Yeah.
We know things change. Use that beautiful Twitch studio you guys have.
Use the 3 community managers you have.
Soon to be a 4th.
Aren't they?
They're
Yeah,
hiring a new one.
4th. Yeah, they're looking for a new one. So hey, put that guy behind the camera.
That's all he's being hired for, just to get
Yeah.
behind the camera and absorb the Twitch hate.
I'll take that job. I can handle that easy. Come on.
You want to tag team it? You
would
be
love
the
to,
face,
yeah.
and like they send me the script, send me the patch notes. I'll just read it to people. I'm fine with doing that. We'll tag team all of that hate for you, Bungie.
I'll read KYS messages all day. All right, I don't care if it means there's some
And from
conversation that
Sephiroth
happens.
Lord Big Dick 99, he says, "Jump into the Hellmouth, you screeching thrall." Okay,
I
on to the next
double
one.
primaried your mom last night. All right,
Wow.
ding.
Went flawless. Into that goes into the zinger pile. There we go. On to the next one. I can take it. But all right, I think that's enough ranting and raving about what we'd like to see from Bungie. What do you guys say we take a few minutes of questions before we get out of here?
Yeah, let's do that.
Anybody
Right
got
on.
any questions out there? If you're in the chat,
I saw
right
quite
now.
a few in the chat, but it scrolled too far and too fast for me to save them. So,
Is your
chat,
first question, why are we in the Destiny 1 directory on Twitch right now? Because whatever.
That's where all
because
the
it's
views
got
are.
more viewers than the Destiny 2 directory. Ooh! Did you guys see that this week?
Oh,
D1
yeah.
had more viewers than
To be
D2.
fair, here's the thing. To be fair, it was because Dado was streaming it. But to be even
That's true.
more fair, one dude shouldn't be more powerful than an entire directory for a fucking game. All right, for a game that's newer, new. It
Dado
was hot.
just came in here like, I am the directory.
Yeah, when one guy is bigger
Master
than your
Jedi.
entire, then you. Oh, that's bad news right there.
Dado coming in with his optimal views.
I think they were, streaming D1 raids?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I love that. I love going back and playing
Playing at
D1
Destiny
raids.
D1 raid day.
Needs to
I'd do
happen.
it.
Dude, I really
around.
wish there was
Just got to
a day we were
reinstall
all
it on
together
PS4.
where we could get Fallout, Moon, Mega, TBL, myself, just go in there and do a PD raid day.
We should do that. We should do that.
We
I have
gotta
to
plan that, 'cause that would be
reinstall
fun.
and level up a character on PS4, but you know what? I'd rather do that than my weekly milestones. All right. I'll buy. You know what? I'll buy myself a fucking. I'll buy myself that. What's that? Spark of light. Yeah, I'm jumping my ass straight up
You'll spend money at the Eververse store for D1
because I
it's
can
better.
because I can buy what I want to buy. All right.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna answer questions, right?
I see one
Yes.
from Darkness25, a buddy of mine. Do you all want another subclass or to keep the 3 we have? I'll never say no to new stuff.
Yeah, I always want more fun things. So give me
Give
more.
us the 3 we have, add another skill tree on there, and give us a whole new subclass.
Give me a new one, but while you're at it, make it so Hunter's main thing, mobility matters. So that'd be cool. That
Increase sprint speed.
yeah,
and also,
just a little bit. I don't need it to be massive, but make him just a little bit faster.
agility increased your sprint speed in D1.
Did it?
Yeah, if
Are
you
you
were
sure
if you were
about
running
that?
like double Mida, you were faster than everybody else.
I think that the Mida made you faster, run faster, but
lightweight
I
on
don't
the Mida
know.
give you
I don't know if
increase.
your actual agility stat made you faster. I'm pretty sure it
I thought it
didn't.
was tight because agility did a bunch of things in D1. I
think-
could have swore it made you faster and you like jumped farther.
I know it makes you jump higher. Your like initial
Yeah.
jump is higher, but I don't
That's how I
think
did
it
the
made
Rocket
you,
Man thing in Crota.
I don't think it actually
I think
made
it
you run
affected your
faster.
walk.
It was.
Walk,
It's always.
it might
It's
have
always
been.
been walk and jump, and then Mida
Kind
made
of
you
how
run faster. for
Telesto
sure.
gives you the Battle Runner perk that makes
Yeah,
you walk
yeah.
faster. So I think
That
that's
might have
what
been
would've
it. That might have been it.
Yeah.
But the lightweight did increase your
But it
sprint speed, if
should.
I'm not mistaken.
It should make you run faster, though.
It's mobility.
As,
Why
as
wouldn't
opposed
it?
to the fact that having low mobility made you faster as a Titan in D1 because you could fucking skate faster. Like there was already a
fly.
class that was way faster than everybody else, and it wasn't like they were the broken class that they were the only one that anybody fucking used. So it's not like going a little bit faster breaks the game or anything.
Well, they were for like a month and a half
Okay,
into
well, yeah,
Taken King. Where you
fair,
could just
but you could just hurl
rapid fire
hammer. You
hammers.
could go
That
full
was
hammer,
glorious.
bro.
What a glorious week that
you could go
was.
full Mario 1 hammer, bro. That's the real hammer, bro.
And we got a question
okay,
from
question,
Mr. Radiant Duke.
Oh, come
Oh
on.
boy. Have any games you're looking forward to since, D2 isn't that hot right now? Or have any games? Yeah. Do we have any games that we're looking forward
I'm
to?
actually really looking forward to a game that comes out next week. Iconoclast, it's called.
Okay,
It's,
yeah.
it's like a
never heard of that
2D. It's been in development, I guess, for like 6 years. I just randomly saw a trailer because one of my mods tweeted it, and it's like it's like an action platformer, Metroid-y style kind of game, but like really bright, like 2D sprite graphics. It looks really
Dude,
awesome.
who's played Castlevania Symphony of the Night?
Wait,
Have
hold
you
on.
seen-
There's about to be heresy. I don't think Mega likes it, and we're going to grill him on
Here's
that
a
a little
little-
bit later.
here's
But continue,
my-
Nim.
All
No,
right,
you shut your mouth. We'll get to you later. Finish
Have
your point,
you
Nim.
seen the new game that that the director from Symphony of the Night's making?
Bloodstained.
Yes. Looking
Yeah.
forward to that. Something fierce because
Oh, yeah.
the gameplay of that is nearly a carbon copy of Symphony of the Night, but it looks pretty.
It's
super
Castlevania and everything
excited
but
for that.
name. Yeah. Why are you a heretic?
I like my
Oh.
original NES Castlevania more than Weeblevania or whatever you want to call this anime a la carte pretty boy bullshit. Okay, that's just can't help myself. I like my straight up left to right platforming action with the clunkiest, shittiest controls of all time.
What a terrible
can't-
night for a curse.
I know it's a horrible night to have one, but the morning sun will vanquish the terrible night or whatever. I can't remember how that quote goes.
You basically finished
Yeah.
it, so we're still buddies. We still boys.
I do admit that for the style of game, Symphony of the Night looks like it's one of the best versions of that style of game. All right, there.
That's great. I loved it.
But also, Sea of Thieves comes out soon, and that's supposed to be, or the
Yeah.
beta is next week. That's supposed to be hot money. Everyone's excited for that.
It looks fun.
It's
I
going to be
think that's
Talk
gonna
Like
be a
a
fun party
Pirate
game.
week on Twitch.
Oh yes.
Yarr, mateys. That's all. I'm
Yar,
gonna-
matey. I be waiting for that there Monster Hunter World. Legitimately going to be the best game of all time. Monster Hunter World. Get into it. If you've never played Monster Hunter, I don't care. Play this one.
I played
Buy
the
it.
beta. It made me sad.
Why is
couldn't
that?
do it because it was too good. It was like too realistic. Like I hurt this animal and it like limps away back to its cave and then it's like chase it and kill it in front of its young. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, you kidding me? I'm just some dude. Like you did way too good a job on this. Make me hate these
Schmurdered.
things. I don't want to.
Absolutely schmurdered.
I
No, you gotta
couldn't
do
do
man.
it. I couldn't do
Gotta take
it.
it now.
I literally, I only did like 2 quests in the beta, and I was like, no, I can't handle this. Like, I don't think I've got the nerve. I'm weak.
I'm going to drag you through hunts. That's what's going to happen. Throw you on that trying to sleep monster and be like, murder it. Cut its head. Do it right now.
Dad.
Do it.
You want to sleep inside? That's what it's gonna be like.
You want to eat tonight? Kill it.
What about you, Nem? What are you excited for other than that Symphony of the
Freezing?
Night crap? Yeah.
I think he's excited for his internet coming back, but I'm pretty sure it just
He's
dropped.
gone. He gone. Yeah. He gone.
He couldn't take your criticisms
Nem,
of Symphony
if
of the
I'm
Night.
if I'm the cutest member of PD podcast, please just sit there and stare off to the side. Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure.
Heresy. Absolute heresy. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for him to come back, we can go ahead and jump to another question. Blasteroid, I love the name. Would the current weapon system work if snipers always spawned with a clip of ammo? It could just be an intrinsic perk. Might cause problems in PvP. If snipers were the only weapon that could one-shot people,
If you had
that
if you had
spawned with
one
ammo.
power weapon, if you had one gun that always had ammo that could one shot people, everybody would just be snipers. So, I mean, that'd be fun as hell. But
That's part of the reason why No Land Beyond isn't in Destiny 2 right now.
No
It would not
Land.
fit with the current
I will
weapon system.
literally, I will give Chris Bear a reach around if he fixes the game and puts No Land back in, because I love No Land Beyond so much. All right, I don't care. I loved it before it was the gun, the meta breaking gun, and I love it. I love it to this day. All right.
I mean, yeah, and you know, I do hope that switching the weapon system back to the D1 weapon system is on the table at Bungie. I had imagined that has to be a conversation going on behind the scenes.
I mean, that's the easiest fix, I'm sure, in their minds. You know, so I could see that being a thing.
I hope it is.
Yeah. And people talk like it's like an impossible change to make, but they made some pretty massive changes with the Taken King to the game. Like, it looks completely different Destiny before the Taken King and after, I feel like. So I could see I could see that happening. I mean,
Definitely. And I think that could be he's back.
Yeah.
And I think that could be definitely be something that works. Probably something that's not going to come till like an expansion or a huge revamp of the a Final Fantasy 14 Realm Reborn styled revamping of the game. But I think that's something that should come, and I think it would do a lot to help, you know, shotguns, sniper rifles. And
I don't know if
fusions.
it's the perfect solution, but it's an easy one that I'm not going to be mad about if it happens. Like, that's just
absolutely
Yeah.
easy money on that choice. All right, I don't think Nim got to answer what game he's looking forward to or playing.
Yeah, that what was my internet completely just like died for a second. Games that I'm playing right now or that I'm looking forward to?
That you're looking forward to, I think, was the question.
That Bloodstained, Rachel of the Night.
Yeah.
That looks great. And Vampire by Don't Nod or Don't.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like a lot of fun.
What
It's,
the fuck is this?
Spooks.
Never heard of it. Tell me more. Did he freeze again? Or are you going to talk to me? No, he's not frozen. Tell me about
I
it.
am disconnecting again.
Uh-oh.
Oh, rip.
TBL, tell me about it.
Cool.
It's just weird vampire. I've only watched like a weird trailer of it. It's a weird vampire game.
All right.
Just a weird vampire.
Just a
game.
weird vampire. I'm in. All right.
Just a weird
All
vampire.
right, give
game.
me that itch that I'm looking
my-
for from Bram Stoker's Dracula on Sega CD. That's
I hope so.
My internet like crashed for a second there again. But yeah, it's like Life is Strange, where like your decisions matter. You're like a doctor, and every time like you feed on somebody, you like get their like memory, so you have that morality, like, you know, line.
I want to learn more.
Do I want to do this or do I not?
Interesting. I
Pretty
mean,
neat.
so is it like an action
Skype is
game,
being
or is
super
it
burger
is it
for me right now. I
mostly
apologize.
choices, or is it or actiony, or what? I don't know. We don't get
Well,
to know.
it's like
It's
Life
like-
is Strange, so.
Third
I've never
person
played
over the
Life is
shoulder
Strange,
action.
so I need information. But that's
Lots
fine.
of high school
it's a-
drama.
I'm in.
It's
I'm
a
in.
little more action oriented than
Okay.
than Life is Strange, but yeah, like it has like a combat system and everything. Like it's really really cool looking.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I could get into it. It.
Life is Tumblr. I love chat. Well, all right. Well, since we're having Skype issues, what do you say we answer one more question and then go ahead and get on out of here for tonight?
I like it.
I saw one that said, do you guys think Anthem is the competitor Destiny needs? I thought this was really interesting because the question of what's going to kill Destiny has basically been asked since Destiny came out. And it turns out, what's the Destiny killer? Destiny 2.
Itself.
Destiny 2 was the Destiny killer. But to more directly answer your question, yeah, I think competition is always a good thing in a market like this. And right now, one of the biggest reasons why Destiny is so long-lasting is, of course, it's an incredibly well-crafted game. It feels good to play and shoot. But it's kind of the only real name in looter shooting out right now. The Division came. It's more of an RPG than anything else, but there's nothing really like Destiny out there, at least until Borderlands 3 comes out.
Are you telling me, TBL, that what we need is some good old Monday Night Wars action? Is that what I'm hearing right now?
It took WCW from here to
Yeah.
here and
Yeah.
then to here. 'Cause
So
it died.
so I'm saying right now, Destiny is WWF, we got like clown characters and no one gives a crap. We're gonna get an Anthem coming out here. That's our WCW.
The NWO,
they
baby.
go up. They push Destiny a little bit higher, and maybe we get new heights. I can get down with that. Competition does breed creativity, so I like it.
I mean, I want Anthem to be good, but I'm already worried because
I think it's going to be a complete burger because of EA. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. They already talked about microtransactions.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Don't worry.
But I want it to be good.
Cosmetic only.
I want every game to be good. I
Don't
want
worry,
good
guys.
games
Just
to
cosmetic.
play. Like I want there to be amazing games for me to play. So yeah, I don't want it to be bad. I just think it will be disappointing if there's tons of hype around it.
Probably.
We'll see.
It's definitely not going to be anything, in my opinion, like what we saw at E3 last year. It's not going to be that open-ended.
Nothing
Just get rid of that expectation right now.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that.
Unless it's Breath of
want
the
it to be good.
Wild, it's not that. It's not what its advertising is.
That lived up, yeah. Absolutely. But all right, you got any thoughts about Anthem, Nim?
I'm really looking forward to that, man. Particularly because it looks like the Iron Man co-op game that I've always wanted and never got.
Yeah. I just want it to be good. I want Destiny 2 to be good too, you know? So,
I'm hoping it's a lot of fun, dude. The concept of it sounds really, really cool.
yeah.
I'm,
We'll have to see. That's supposed to come out this year.
I'm looking forward to it.
But all right, ladies and gentlemen, that is all the time we have tonight for episode 150 of the Planet Destiny podcast. 150. We made it to the big one. Before we get on out of here, we are going to let you know where you can find us across the internet and if we've got anything big coming up this week. But first things first, if you're here on the Twitch chat, go ahead, hit up that Destiny 1 or Destiny 2 directory, figure out who you want us to raid with this live stream, and we will do that at the end. But for right now, if you'd like to see some more of the beautiful bearded man to my left, or if you're watching inverted, probably to my right, if you're weird or in Australia or something, Mega Man himself, Mr. Mega Magwitch of Husky Raid fame, where can they find you?
You can find me at twitch.tv/megamagwitch and twitter.com/megamagwitch, where I stream every weekday, starting around 10 a.m. until question mark these days, because I keep going late.
Question mark.
We're going to be playing this week coming up. We're gonna be doing some Iconoclast for sure. Possibly gonna pre-order Sea of Thieves just so I can get into that closed beta and try it out. And Fortnite and maybe one day of Destiny 2 when I feel like doing milestones, if I feel like doing them. There you go. What about Nem up there? Where you finding you, old cutie pie, cutie cakes,
You can find me over,
sweet cheeks?
over at twitch.tv/nemplays. You know, just click that link. You know, link when if you type it in, it'll be
There you
right
go.
there. Yeah, I'm right there.
Does the big live streams. Follow,
Yep.
subscribe, all that stuff. And of course, I am the Black Link. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all at the Black
Make sure you
Link.
hit up that Twitch. He just got affiliated, yo.
I just got affiliated.
Do it.
Yo!
Do it.
Ooh, getting the big streams in there
Sub to
on the
this
Twitch.
man.
Been having a lot of fun with that.
Oh, yeah.
No, sub to Mega. He's funnier than I am. And I legitimately think you playing Sea of Thieves with like maybe the Husky Raid group is going to be the funniest bit of gaming content ever.
Oh
There's
my
so much
God.
potential there. There's so much potential there. And I want to
So
see
They
it.
got a pirate
Yes.
outfit over here hanging on the door. I'm just pointing
You
it out.
are a pirate. Play it every stream.
Oh,
But,
that's amazing.
This week, I might do a little bit of a Destiny stream. If I might do some D1 stuff. I want to go back, do some strikes on that, and maybe a raid or two.
Yo,
But-
let's raid.
Yep, let's do it.
Yep.
And this Friday, Monster Hunter World's coming out. I am going to be all over that game, so make sure you tuned in at the Black Link. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching episode 150 of the Planet Destiny podcast, your guide to the Destiny universe. Love you guys. We'll catch you next week.